News stories about the ties between Russia and Donald Trump's presidential campaign are now so complex that it's become difficult to tell whether CNN and the New York Times are lying to try to sway public opinion toward Democrats or whether they're just making stuff up because they're bored and have nothing better to do. Let's take a look at the developments so far. Suspicions of Trump's Russian connections first arose when Hillary Clinton lost the presidential election. All across this great land from West 42nd Street to West 59th, journalists began asking themselves, how could a corrupt, dishonest, socialist old bat who screeches like a pterodactyl fail to win the hearts and minds of the American people? The answer must lie in Russia. You see, the Russians had cleverly sent Clinton campaign manager John Podesta an email disguised as a message from Google. The email read, quote, Privyet, Comrade John. Someone has hacked your password ski. Please send new password ski to Boris and Natasha, your friends at Google. Do svidaniya, Vlad, unquote. Completely suckered in by this clever phishing expedition, Podesta sent the sly Russians his password, allowing them to steal and then leak his emails. These emails shocked the nation by revealing that Hillary Clinton was a corrupt, dishonest, socialist old bat who screeches like a pterodactyl. Up to that point, voters may have realized that Hillary was corrupt and probably dishonest. And okay, they already understood she was a socialist. And yes, they could see for themselves that she was an old bat who screeched like a pterodactyl, but they had never, until this moment, fully realized that John Podesta was stupid enough to send his password to the Russians. This shocking news may have only swayed 0% of the electorate, but it was the crucial 0% that put Donald Trump over the top. As one voter told reporters, quote, after 8 years of being unemployed and watching Obama sell out American interests while he tried to force me to let boys into the girls' room at my daughter's school, I was just about to vote for 4 more years of the same until I read those doggone emails, unquote. So for journalists, the question naturally arises, what did Trump know and when did he become a Russian spy? So far, reporters have found no evidence that Trump was involved in this completely meaningless mischief. But they have spent enough man-hours covering the story that each and every one of them could have used his time more productively by whittling a bar of soap into a miniature replica of the battleship Missouri. Working round the clock, journalists have exposed the fact that people who meet with ambassadors have met with ambassadors. People who speak to Vladimir Putin have spoken to Vladimir Putin. And that Donald Trump himself may have whistled the theme song to From Russia with Love while taking a shower in a hotel owned by a man who read the first 100 pages of War and Peace in college. Stay tuned for more on this amazing story of cynicism, stupidity, and rank corruption, or as we call it, American journalism. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, tipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
All right, it's Mailbag Day. Hey! And we'll be doing that after we break away from Facebook and YouTube. So you got to come over to thedailywire.com. And while you're there, you could subscribe. Are we giving away something new? Yeah. We're giving away Knowles' book, aren't we? Yeah. We are giving away Michael Knowles' Reasons to Vote. You got to subscribe for a year. It's a lousy $8 a month, and we're giving away Michael Knowles' Reason to Vote for Democrats, a completely blank book. And if we run out, we'll just send you a ream of papers. It actually is a limited offer. We only have so many of them, right? Yeah. So that is in the mailbag. I do have some bad news, which is I'm going to Washington tomorrow to do the National Review Ideas Summit. Why they asked me, I don't know, but it's really like heavy hitting, intellectuals and big Paul Ryan is going to be there, all these people, and me, I think I'm cleaning the tables. I think that's why I'm waiting tables after the thing is over. But because of this, we were going to do a show on Friday, but our producer, Jonathan Hay, is doing his hair that day. So that's the day you roll up your socks, isn't it? I think, yeah, that's Friday. So So the Klavanless weekend begins after this show, and it's bad news but some of you will survive. Some of you will probably live through it and come back on Monday. So that's just have to set that up. Meanwhile, is your underwear comfortable? That's the real question. That is the real question. Is your underwear comfortable? Because if you were wearing Mack Weldon, it would be. And this is testimony. I am testifying to Mack Weldon. I bought it online. First, really easy website, easier than, whatever website you use that you just love. It's like one of those websites. You click, you're there, you pick the stuff out you like, you can pick the color. I got a hoodie at this place it has become now one of my favorite pieces of clothing. I wear this stuff so much that when my wife wants to wash it, she just picks me up by the heels and dumps me head first into the washing machine because I won't take this thing off. It really is good stuff. I don't know what they make it out of, but it's it's really comfortable, really fits. You can play in it. You can do sports in it if you want. Just wear it for comfort. And if you go there now to MackWeldon.com, you can get 20% off by using the promo code Klavan. That's Klavan. Use the promo code Klavan, Klavan, and you will get 20% off really comfortable underwear and other stuff, sweatshirts and hoodies and the like. And I actually got through that ad without cracking up like I did last time. All right. So we talked earlier, it was early this week, I think, that I was talking about the fact that Trump has defeated, for now, the Democrat media, which is most of the mainstream media. But it's even better than that. He now has them on self-defeat. They're now defeating themselves. I mean, did you see that Rachel Maddow thing? It was like she went down. Here's the thing. The mainstream media is so insulated, so inside this bubble, that it has created this entire fantasy world. We were just joking about the Russian thing. When you really study this Russian scandal, there is no there there. They keep saying, well, they hacked the election. Nobody hacked the election. They hacked some emails. They sent some emails out. I'm sure it had very, very little effect on who people were voted for. People are much smarter than that. So they didn't hack the election. Didn't happen. Total fantasy. As far as we know, there's no, insidious connection between the Trump campaign and the Russians. So that's a fantasy. So now they have this thing. He didn't turn in his tax returns. And my guess, to be honest with you, is that Trump didn't turn in his tax returns because he's not as wealthy as he says he is, because he makes such a big, deal about how wealthy he is, and so maybe he only has a few $1 billion. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, once you've got $1 billion, once you go from the M to the B, you've kind of crossed that line. So Rachel Maddow gets 2 pages of Trump's 2005 tax returns. This is now 12 years ago, right? And she, at 7:30 at night, she tweets out, "Breaking! We've got Trump tax returns tonight, 9 p.m. ET, MSNBC." And then in parentheses, seriously. Now this is one of my favorite pieces of tape, I think, of the year so far. She comes on, and I want to get the first one, the number 3. She comes on and she builds this up, and she is, when I say she's having hot flashes, she's waving her hand in front of her face as if she's having hot flashes. Look at this.
A little bit of a hullabaloo around here this evening. I apologize for being a little flustered.
People literally were tweeting at me, "Shut up, get to Rachel."
Well, you can't before 9 o'clock because I'm not sitting here
I wanted to respond. Okay.
until 8:59:58.
I'm going to go watch.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. And thanks to you at home for joining us for the next hour. You may have heard, we've got some significant breaking news tonight. Donald Trump's tax returns have surfaced, at least a portion of Donald Trump's past tax returns. What we have tonight has been turned over to a reporter. These are returns for 1 year. It's a federal return. This is the first time we believe any federal tax returns for Donald Trump have been obtained by anyone, certainly by any news organization, since he became a presidential candidate, let alone president. I want to tell you that the way we got this document, the way we got this Trump tax return, is through David K. Johnston. David K. Johnston is a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist. He's a specialist on tax issues and on financial reporting. David K. Johnston and his reporting shop, dcreport.org, that's who obtained this return. And tonight, we have this exclusive first look at their reporting, at what they have obtained. In just a second, we are going to show you exactly what it is that we've got. We're going to walk through it with David K. Johnston. We're going to get context on it. We're going to get some explanation of what it means. Importantly, we're going to get some explanation and discussion about what further avenues for reporting this may open.
She goes on and on. She goes the full Geraldo. Remember Geraldo Rivera did Al Capone's vault, and he built it up for an hour, and then they opened the vault, and there was a broken bottle inside or something like that, an empty whiskey bottle. She goes never go the full Geraldo, Rachel, but she goes the full Geraldo, and she just builds it up and builds it up. And Twitter is hilarious. I mean, Twitter is going nuts. They're putting up these little videos of people banging themselves in the head with rakes, and they're saying, "Kill us, Rachel. Just tell us what he paid in taxes." All right. But she's in full fantasy mode. She's telling all the things that might be in this thing. And this is a fantasy that the left has been having for a long time. You remember Hillary? We have a clip of Hillary during the debates. Remember, she wonders, why doesn't Trump release his returns?
So you've got to ask yourself, why won't he release his tax returns? And I think there may be a couple of reasons. First, maybe he's not as rich as he says he is. Second, maybe he's not as charitable as he claims to be. Third, we don't know all of his business dealings, but we have been told through investigative reporting that he owes about $650 million to Wall Street and foreign banks. Or maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops, zero for vets, zero for schools or health.
And every American is sitting at home going like, wow, I really want to pay as much income tax as I want. So when Trump says that makes me smart if I didn't pay any income taxes, people are thinking like, well, yeah, So now, finally, after going on, I don't know how long she went on, but it seemed forever, Rachel takes out, you'd think she hadn't read it. It looked like she hadn't read it. She takes out these 2 pages of a 12-year-old tax return, and here's the big reveal.
What I have here is a copy of Donald Trump's tax returns. We have his federal tax return for 1 year for 2005. I believe this is the only set of the president's federal taxes that reporters have ever gotten a hold of. What we have are these 2 pages, front and back, from the same 1040 form that you might have filled out when you file your taxes. And in terms of what's on here, let me give you the basics. Aside from the numbers being large, these pages are straightforward. He paid $38 million, looks like $38 million in taxes. He took a big write-down of $103 million. More on that later. If you add up the lines for income, he made more than $150 million in that year. Mazel tov. We got these pages. We got this document today from a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist who's better on financial matters than almost anybody else in the business. His name is David K. Johnston. These pages turned up the other day in his mailbox.
He paid $38 million in taxes on 100. That is more tax. First of all, it's more taxes than Comcast pays. It is. It's a higher tax rate than Obama paid. So that's like close to a quarter of his income, which raises the question in my mind: how did the government get to own 1/4 of anybody's time? How do you get to own 1/4 of anybody's time? It makes you 1/4 a slave. I mean, it's like, how did that happen? How are we getting into that debate? So even CNN, and this is a wild cut. This is not the. Yeah, here it is, number 1. Here's CNN panel, right? All liberals, and listen to the assumptions in here. Even they are going like, oh boy, this was a big bust. Listen to this.
Here's reality. If all we get tonight is that Donald Trump paid $38 million to America's government, that's a good night for Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. There's just really no way. Like, I was hoping and praying that it would show not only did he pay no taxes, he actually charged the government and got money back. I wanted something I could get excited
And you
about.
know what you wanted is that he was paid in rubles.
Exactly.
That's what you were hoping for.
But you know what would be amazing about that is that when the New York Times got the 1995 taxes, the big headline was $960 million deduction that allows Donald Trump to not pay any taxes
forever,
potentially for 18 years.
Yeah.
So if 10 years later he's paying $38 million, and Trump at the debate essentially said that story was right.
Right. He said that makes me smart.
That makes me smart. So he was actually bragging.
Smart, right?
So
Mitt Romney
this shows
outdid
that
him.
maybe that actually he paid more tax than he's previously admitted to.
It's great. And what I love about this, what I love is even they don't know it, but they're actually making fun of themselves. I mean, Anderson Cooper said, we were hoping he was paid in rubles. And Van Jones is saying, I was hoping and praying. Why are you hoping and praying that the president is a tax cheat? Because you stink. Because you are living in a fantasy world of fantasy scandals, hoping and hoping and hoping that the crap you throw against the wall is eventually going to stick, because that's what they did to George W. Bush. We got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube, but the mailbag is coming, and you will be able to send questions live. It does raise the chances that I'll be right. It lowers the chances that I'll be right from 100% to 99.7%, I think. But you can send them in live.